kind of got the feeling of how the locker room was before the game, that these kids were taking Little Rock for granted. It wasn't the same energy. Don't know why. Don't have any excuses for that. And when we came out on the floor, it got down 9-0. I kind of like when we got down the last 5 minutes, it was a close game because I kind of want to know what my team is made of. We were at home. I wanted to see who was ready for the moment. Every game doesn't have to be a blowout because you need some tests, and this was a big test for us. Knew Little Rock was going to be pretty good and pretty solid. They had been playing some good games on the road against some good teams, and I was pleased that even though we started the game off slow, that we ended the game really well.
Coach, I asked DJ and Precious about the Wiseman ruling from the NCAA, and they said they weren't aware of it. Did you guys not discuss it pregame at all? No,
actually, we didn't. It's just something that it just is what it is right now. It's taking on a life of its own, so I'm sure they'll see it after the game. Later.
Hey, Coach, I know you say you got off to a slow start. It was something they were doing or something you weren't doing, or why the reason for the slow start the game?
Young team. I can just only see, when we put things in because we're well prepared. It was Coach Miller's scout, and we knew exactly what they were going to do, and they came out and did those things. But like I always say, even going into the Oregon game, you can never account for the nervous energy in a kid. And then when you're doing it 5-on-0 and 5-on-5 in practice, it's different once you get in the arena. With the team that does it every single day, you can only try to kind of mimic the stuff that they do to a certain extent, but they do it every day. So it's hard to get our scout team to kind of get to that level. And they do a good job about what they forced us to shoot outside shots early in that zone. And every time we got into the middle, they just kind of converged on us because they wanted us to beat them from the outside and not on the inside. So they did a great job.
Coach, what was your reaction when you saw the ruling from the NCAA?
I didn't have one.
Were you guys glad to at least find out a number?
Yeah, we were definitely glad to find out about a number. We had been waiting on that.
Penny, what did James react at all? And in front of you?
I didn't ask him. I didn't ask him about anything. We just kept going business as usual.
Coach, you got a big game coming up on Saturday against Ole Miss. How important is it to get off to a good start in that game?
Well, obviously, when you're at home, it's your home turf. You want to get the crowd in the game. You want to start off early with the lead. You want to make them fight from behind. You don't want them to get into your gym and then gain control of and the momentum of the game early to get comfortable. You want them to be uncomfortable the entire game. So I feel like it's important. It's not the end of the world, but you want to get a good start, especially with a young team.
Benny, I know at the beginning of the season you were talking about how you're just going to kind of let them figure things out. You're not going to run as many sets. Where are you at with that right now, and do you feel comfortable with what you're calling and their ability to kind of run that right now?
Yeah, I think right now we're limited because everybody's playing a zone. So they are having to figure it out on their own. They are having to understand how to screen inside of the zone, how to make plays for each other, and they're figuring it out. We're seeing it on a nightly basis because no team is really playing us man-to-man the entire game.
You mentioned, Penny, that the team needs tests. What kind of test is it going to be for the next 12 games, or 11, I guess, or 10 now?
Yeah, it's going to be a big test because guys got to grow up. That energy that James brought offensively and defensively is not going to be there. So, it allows other guys to be able to step up. So it's going to be huge for us to get the game plan, go out there with the energy, do it collectively as a group, and just depend on each other the entire game and be confident that we can go out there and get it done.
Coach, you've mentioned before about how important rebounding, winning the rebounding battle, and not turning the ball over. Where you were successful on both of those columns on the stat sheet. How much emphasis have you been putting on that in practice?
Well, obviously rebounding has been, our Achilles heel. We weren't really rebounding the ball well, especially when we go to a smaller lineup. The guards aren't getting back in there and fighting and rebounding. But we found ourselves winning a lot of these battles on the rebound. So that says a lot about just scrapping and fighting, but we can do better. Us turning the ball over is bad. We had 19 turnovers tonight, and they really didn't put a huge amount of pressure on us. Us turning them over 26 times is huge because that's what we need to do. We just didn't capitalize on it enough, but that's 2 games back-to-back with forcing 52 turnovers. We have to be able to turn those into points.
Penny, what are you telling your shooters at this point? It's the 3rd straight game they've struggled from outside.
They just got to keep shooting. I think it's in their head now because they're turning down shots. And to me, that's very selfish because you're a shooter. You got to shoot until you make. And I don't want them turning down shots. to drive the ball into the lane. Now, if somebody's closing out on a really good contest like Oregon was, then you got to drive the ball into the lane. But if they're stopping short and giving you shots, you got to shoot with confidence.
Hey Penny, yesterday, DJ said we pretty much seen all he's can do. How much higher is his ceiling? And talk about the player Maurice tonight.
Yeah, DJ is a superb talent. He's actually learning so much. This college offensive sets and defensive changes and everything is kind of overwhelming for all of the freshmen, especially him. But man, he gives his effort. He goes out there and works hard. Even if he doesn't know what to do, he's going to give you that effort. And the sky's the limit for DJ. He's an excellent talent. And Isaiah Maurice, I apologized to him last game because he came in and got 9 rebounds in like 11 minutes or 12 minutes. Then he came in again tonight to get 9 rebounds in 14 minutes. Just got to find more minutes for him. So I'm proud of Isaiah.
Coach, in a saga that's involved so many different adults and the punishment so far coming in on a kid and a 19, 18-year-old kid, do you feel that's fair?
Well, I stated from the beginning that I didn't think it was fair, but there's nothing that I can do about it. Obviously James should be on the floor. That's just how I feel.
Penny, when a game is called as closely as that one was and a lot of fouls, how does that hurt your ability to get up and down and play the way you want to really play?
Well, it changes the game plan totally because now we can't get up and take things away. We got to play kind of safe, and then that gets them to their favor because now they're going to be more aggressive. And they started driving the ball down the lanes because our guys started feeling like if I get too close, then they're going to call a foul, and they started driving the ball down the lane, which is what we don't want. But we're one of the worst fouling teams in the country right now, and we definitely have to clean that up.
Coach Lester Quiones has consistently been your leader in minutes. Can I talk about what you've seen from him in his game that allows you to trust him so much on the floor?
Well, it's just his toughness. It's what he's willing to do out there, just the dirty work, take charges, get tough rebounds, run the way that I need him to run the floor, try to make sound decisions. It just seems like, that year of prep that he went grad, that he's a little ahead of all the other freshmen when it comes to understanding and what he won't give up. And I trust that when he's out there that he's gonna play his heart out.
Hey, Coach, statistically, why were you guys not able to get DJ going in the second half to ride that momentum he had the first half?
The games, everything changed in the second half. They basically didn't let us run the same things that we did, and DJ basically got all those off hustle points. He was offensive rebounding the ball. He was getting steals. He was doing all that in the first half. Obviously, we got to get him the ball more. That's up to the guards and to the team, but it was like Precious' turn in the second half. It's like he and DJ's role reversed. And DJ has to, he's not worried about scoring. We need him to score more. When he has a half like that, you got to come out in the second half and try to repeat. But he just kind of is into trying to win the basketball game. I wish he would get more aggressive. I keep saying that to him, but he just hasn't found out the way to do it with the group that he's with right now, and I'm sure he will.
Coach, I know you said from the beginning that you guys wouldn't have changed the way you've approached this, but now that you have a number, do you guys still stand by the way this process is all played out and the way you guys have kind of done things?
I don't really know what else to say about it. I don't know what you want me to say. I feel like James should be on the floor. So the process of what's going on is they're in control. They make the rules, so we just have to abide by them.
Coach, you mentioned that DJ got a lot of his points off of hustle points. Is he leading your hustle board right now?
He would be one of the ones that's really high. I can't – it's like I can't be out there in the guard. I challenge my guards because DJ is one of the guys that can beat his man off the dribble. I challenge my guards to get him the basketball because he is a weapon. And unfortunately, with a lot of talent and a lot of young guys, they might see things differently in one half than they do in the second half. But we have got to find out why he can't put two halves together because he's just that explosive and he's that talented. And the way he held us together in the first half, he definitely needed to come out in the second half and use the same aggression. I'll have to watch film to see what actually happened.
A couple of times throughout the games this year, I've caught myself saying, wow, Alex Lomax has gotten better since last season. Can you just speak a little bit about his improvement?
Well, Alex last year, he tried to change his game up coming into his freshman season. He wanted to be more of a scorer, and it kind of took away from his defense and his playmaking. I think this year he kind of got back to himself where he's going to defend really hard, push the ball off the floor and try to find guys first, and then score last, and then things are just working better for him doing that. That's what he's always done.
last thing, what type of shoes are you wearing tonight? I've really been trying to figure that out.
This is Louis Vuitton.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you.